I studied social anthropology at Edinburgh University with a component in visual anthropology and a component in development. So after university, I worked for an NGO that did HIV prevention education in Uganda through media, so through radio, through theatre, through newspapers. And that's where I became really interested in photography and how I could use that for development projects. And in the end, the development projects kind of fell a little bit to the side, and I was more and more interested in just the photography. I found when I was working in East Africa, we were working with adolescents who were going through a transition in their lives and using media and using other tools to communicate. And I was really intrigued by the fact that, I discovered that they wanted to tell their story, and that I could be a vehicle for that, so that I could tell their story to the world. And that was a real turning point for me. So that they wanted to. So from the beginning, I've always been really interested in this collaborative documentary projects that are quite collaborative. So portraits that are about collaboration and about the person wanting to be photographed in a way, or having a story to tell that might be as simple as standing in front of my camera and knowing their name, but I'm revealing that person to the world. So I'm still involved with development work. I have, in 2006, I gave a workshop to children in Allahabad in northern India, and from then on I've been giving workshops for children in Mexico and in Cuba, and the project is called A Uni Photographic Education. And we do the idea is to do workshops all over the world with children, not just them photographing, but also them looking at images and learning to see their context through a camera. For my Respect project, I went to South Sudan a couple of weeks before the independence of the country, which was on the 9th of July this year. And I had been following the news, and I wanted to experience the birth of a nation, this idea of the creation of a nation and the transformation from the war and the rebel movement to a civil society, and the integration of the 69 tribes in South Sudan and the creation of a national identity. It was very hard to tackle because it's such a complex subject. So it was. So I did an overview, a little bit of the refugees that are returning from northern Sudan, from refugee camps in Uganda and surrounding countries, but also a lot of South Sudanese that had the opportunity to be educated. I met people who had been educated in Canada, in the US, in Cuba, and they were coming back because they wanted to be part of this new nation. So this was a really interesting aspect as well. I photographed the police and the prison force. I was interested in the creation of these institutions and how people that were soldiers in the war were now effectively peacekeepers, or had a role in peacekeeping in their society. I was really interested in women as well, and how through the war they earned the respect of the male population. So now 25% of all institutions are composed of women, which is quite a high number for such a patriarchal society. And I was interested in the religious aspect as well, so I photographed the religious aspect, and very interested in adolescents going through this transition in their lives when their nation has been built. So it's the identity of citizens as citizens of this new nation. I think the most important message this week really has been to be something that we all know inside ourselves, but it's just been reaffirmed over and over of how our work has to come from a place other than the soul behind the work, the motivation behind the work, the emotion behind the work. is what's going to make it stand out and what's going to make our photographic career fulfilling as well. So we're going to all have to do assignments that are maybe less interesting or that don't fit along that line, but our personal work, which is what we've been talking about this week, is really about ourselves, and to be authentic to your vision and what you want to communicate and what you feel has been something that has come up over and over again.